Over the next few videos, you may change the way you look at life. Now, I'm going to be showing you things that no one else has shown you before. Just like I did with Atlantis, I've shown that who was in Atlantis. Now, that actually comes into this same story here that I'm talking about now, which is all to do with Thoth. Now, Thoth was an Egyptian god, also known as Ningazida and Hermes. Now, Thoth created a series of tablets called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, supposedly there's 10, but we've only really been allowed to see 8 of them. 2 of them are not allowed to be seen for whatever reason. Maybe they're holding some more information that we don't know. Now, these tablets are really important because what it does is it proves to us that the Anunnaki are not with spirit. In other words, they don't have, when they first came here, they didn't even know about spirits. Now, these tablets, I'm running out of time. Watch the next video, really important. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, supposedly this was made using an alchemical transmutation, which means the atomic and cellular levels are static as opposed to a fluctuation like you do get with atoms that are bouncing around, which makes it unbreakable, apparently. These 8 tablets, 10 if you include the 2 that we're never going to be allowed to see, which probably give away a lot more information than these tablets do. Now, I don't know whether they're unbreakable or not. I've not seen them up close to smash them, to try and break them. But the most important part of these tablets is the fact that the tablets describe the light beings, which if you've watched my previous videos from 1 onwards, you'll know that I talk about light beings, which are spirits, souls, whatever you want to call them. These tablets also talk about that, and they say things like light among men, and that means that's the light coming into us humans. And lies, truth, infamy, they've got it infamy. Now, the reason why I say lies is because of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now, anything that I say here on in regarding the Emerald Tablets of Thoth do take with a large dollop of salt. And the reason why I say that is because, let's for example look at this. It was supposedly written in Arabic and then translated to Latin, so we never actually get to see the original tablet, so we don't actually know, but we assume it's translated because all we see is the Latin version. However, there was a person called Dr. Michael Durrell who supposedly translated it from the tablets from Atlantean into English, which is pretty impressive because there's no other, as far as I'm aware, there's no other Atlantean language out there, and that then means that he would have been able to magically translate without a Rosetta Stone or something like that. So that's pretty impressive, and that's sad because there's a website out there or YouTube channel that deals with all these subjects, and unfortunately they quoted that the texts were in Atlantean originally, which unfortunately in my opinion is a big no-no. Now, the reason why it's another no-no is, and I'll tell you that after this quick interlude. Now, TikTok, I've got 600 plus videos at the moment, and it's really hard for you lot to scroll down to watch from number 1 because people have said it is. Now, if you like my videos, then when you go to your profile, you just click this button here, and it brings up all the ones that you've liked, so you don't have to scroll all the way down, and you know which ones you've watched. So it will show you the last liked video there, the one that before that. So if you've watched 10 of mine, for example, the 10th one would be here, the 9th one, and so on. So it's a lot easier to find. Okay, so going back to the Tablets of Thoth. Now, supposedly, Thoth was an Atlantean, but we know Thoth as Ningazida, which was an Anunnaki. So if he did go to Atlantis, and then Atlantis sank, which is written in the tablets, and that he actually got warned, I'm going to give spoiler alerts here, but they were warned to leave Atlantis, which is exactly what I say already in my other previous videos about Atlantis. But he supposedly wrote these tablets while he was Hermes. Now, if you know, Hermes was the Greek god. Now, why didn't he write them in Greek? Why didn't he write them in the Egyptian? Why did he, and why not cuneiform? Why Atlantean? There's a huge time difference between Atlantis and Greece. So I struggle. So keep watching because I will keep going through the book Did you know the real Indiana Jones, Dr. Zahi Hawas, who was the head of antiquities in Egypt, was caught up in a couple of scandals, which is why they sort of forced him to retire. And allegedly he was possibly selling antiquities that he shouldn't be selling, making a profit. And he's also was caught up in a scandal where 3 Germans were trying to take some paint off of the cartouche in the Great Pyramid to find out whether it was fake or not, and subsequently down the line we did find out that it was fake. But I don't think Zahi was involved in that part of it, because I think he would rather it be Khufu's pyramid, so that way it stops all people thinking that it was built by aliens. Now, the problem was back in 2010 when Zahi was removed, the tourism in Egypt went right down, so they was trying to find ways of bringing him back. I had someone say on a previous video that the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are in a museum. So these are the unbreakable, physics-defying, the hardest rock known to man on this planet are sitting in a museum. And I kind of replied saying, well, if you think that, I've got some fresh air I can tell you. Military would not allow... Okay, if you don't know why the military would be interested in these and just letting them sit in a museum, then my videos are probably not for you. But they also say that there's more than 10 tablets, because I said 10. There's translations work out more than 10, but originally there was 10. So now Thoth himself supposedly in the book come from Atlantis. Now I'll cover that because I'm running out of time in the next video.
Chapter 1. The really Big Bang. The vast emptiness of space, a void interrupted only by spheres of energy swirling around the nothingness. The vibrating orbs glow with great power coursing through them. Some move quickly, and some move slowly. With each one zooming across the cold vacuum of space, it was only a matter of time before they would collide to create the known universe. Time froze as 2 orbs collided. What began with seemingly no purpose or deliberate intention suddenly became a spark of inspiration that ignited life in a single moment. An almighty light emanated from their points of contact, and shock waves rippled far and wide. Echoes of the waves are still remnant throughout our universe to this day, continuously expanding the universe to infinity. Over billions of years, space energy solidified and merged to create stars, planets, and eventually our own Earth, where the sun has just set over a dilapidated town on the outskirts of London. Peter, a worn man in his mid-30s, sat on the bottom step of his staircase holding a battered grey phone to his ear. Way up in the sky, unbeknownst to anyone below, was a person falling, gaining speed as the ground approached fast. It was a man wearing just a t-shirt and jeans, with no parachute. A sudden bang outside disturbed his concentration, which forced him to prop himself up on his chair. Peter fumbled for the controller, muted the television, then waited in an uneasy silence. He went to open the front door for one final check of what the loud bang was, but as he did, a man that must have been leaning against it falls in as the door opens, pushing Peter backwards in the hallway. The stranger fell at Peter's feet. Startled and alarmed, Peter rushed to his kitchen, grabbed his mobile phone and a plastic gun. As he ran back into the hallway, Peter saw the man crawling slowly into his sitting room. "Hey, stop right there!" It sounded feeble even to Peter. The strange man continued crawling at the same pace, steadily, despite holding his side and grimacing in pain. Peter attempted to put a bit more authority in his voice. "Get out of my house, please!" The stranger reached the sofa and lifted himself up, allowing Peter to finally catch a glimpse of his face. Every detail from the forehead lines to birthmarks lined up with his own. He found himself staring directly into what seemed to be his own reflection. The blue eyes, the nose, lips. The only difference Peter could see at first glance was the lack of glasses. "Who are you? Why are you here? Why do you look like me? Are you a clone?" The stranger stared at Peter in silence. I'll call the police." "The gun is not real," he said, "and your phone battery is dead." Peter stared in wide-eyed silence as the man slowly lay himself down on the sofa, with his back facing Peter. "They'll think you're losing your mind." The man rolled onto his side to meet Peter's gaze. "You'll get locked away and miss the journey."